Hello and Happy New Year, sweet friends. It's me, IndieAnnieJones, and I'm back with some more inspiration for 2024. But first, a look back at 2023 with my little assistants, Kuru and Luna. So I decided to divide my projects into retro and vintage. I don't know if that makes a difference, but this is retro red. So the focal color of these Valentines is red. And the first thing I'm using are these wonderful vintage Valentines, which I found on the Graphics Fairy. I'm going to provide a link for you for the Graphics Fairy and also a link so it's easy for you to print these out and you don't have to be searching around and putting them together. So I put them together for you. So here all I'm doing is using, one of the covers from one of those booklets of the, oh my goodness, I can't speak, the paper. The scrapbook paper pads. Yeah, I'm using the covers of the scrapbook paper pads just to make this paper a little more durable. And so they'll stand up and I can use them easier in my projects. And so I decided to create a cute little, I just wanted to make a little banner and I thought these were so adorable. Of course, I fell in love with the little cat. There's two cats there, the little cat that looks like Luna and the other little cat that, well, I'm gonna say it looks like Kuru, even though it's a little more of a gray cat instead of a black cat. But the other one is definitely a little Luna cat. They haven't appeared yet. Where can my kitty cats be? They'll be here, believe me, they will. So all I did was use Mod Podge and create these cute little Valentines. Again, I think this is such a sweet and darling project, and especially with these little vintage Valentines. They're so adorable, so cute. You remember when you used to buy like Valentines by the dozens and give them out to your friends? That's pretty much what I'm doing here, is just putting together a little banner with all these little vintage Valentines. And there's the one that looks like my little Luna. I fell in love with this picture. I thought it was just so cute. So, of course, I had to include her in our banner. Now, of course, I had to add just a little bit of sparkle. So first I started with this little, and there's Luna. Hello, Luna. Anyway, I added these little raindrops to this cute little red umbrella Valentine. Of course, you can't see what I'm doing because Luna's little cute face is in the way. But all I'm doing is just dotting with a little bit of Mod Podge. And then I'm going to use some of that crystal, very fine glitter and just put a little bit of glitter on that card. I went ahead and added a little touch of glitter onto all of my little Valentines. Now I'm using that cute little, oh goodness, I always call them dingleberries. I know they're not dingleberries, but you know what I mean. That little fringe with the things on the pom-poms. That's it, the pom-pom fringe. I'll forever call them dingleberries. Anyway, no, I don't digress here. Anyway, I just added my little Valentines with a little bit of ribbon, and these are little polka dotted ribbons because I just thought they were so vintagey and cute, and just adds a little bit of Valentine's Day decor to your home and make it easy for yourself. And of course, your kids will have fun with this too. And if you create this every year, you can use your kids' Valentines from year to year. If they give you Valentines, don't forget to give your mom Valentines, kiddos. They need a little bit of love too. So if you collect the Valentine's Day's cards from your kids, this is a perfect way to celebrate them on Valentine's Day. And what I love about this is that you can customize it any way you want, make it as long as you want, as short as you want, and it's just so much fun. I hope you create one of these cute little banners for your home this Valentine's Day. Once again, from my stash, I had this little hexagon box, which I thought was perfect. I didn't have to do a thing to the outside because I thought it was already nicely decorated for Valentine's Day. I don't like too many hearts on everything, but I am adding this pretty pearly trim so that it matches the pearls on the tree itself. And I love those little leaves in the background. I think that is so cute. And besides that, I thought it would be cute to have that also for the spring. I thought this would be a nice little transition. I can change the tree if I want to and make it a little more springy. I don't know. I have to see what I'm going to do. Now I have to tell you, I'm really trying to use my stash so I don't purchase any additional items that I don't need. So these were parts of my leftover stash from last year's Valentine's. I still had one of those little grapevine wreathy hearts in my stash that I'm cleaning out. And then I had this leftover heart where I had used the backing of it for another craft, and now I'm using the outside frame of that little house, and I thought I would put something together. And here is my little guru helping me out, as always, my little supervisor. And again, I apologize for, the obstruction of the view, but basically all I'm doing is painting it a very light pink and getting some cuddles, some scratches. I love that. And here I'm using this beautiful paper that I had, again, in my stash. And Guru is very observant because there was a little bird in the middle, and I guess she liked the design of the little bird in the middle of this piece of paper. And now I'm just going to cut it out to fit the shape of the house. I'm going to start my first project with a frame I found on the side of the road and these wonderful canvases I got at Dollar Tree. But I didn't buy them for $5. I actually got it for $1.25. So you can still find these in the regular dollar stores for $1.25, of course. I'm using these wonderful IOD transfers that were given to me by Teresa of Our Green Acres, and I just thought it would be a wonderful way to freshen up some of my home decor. So here all I did was paint on some of my just regular paint that I had around the house, this goldeny color, which I thought was perfect. And I am under the supervision of Luna. She is making sure I am doing a good job with my transfer. She's watching. So, it's like, what, you missed a spot. She's looking at me. She's like, look, you missed a spot right here. She's pointing it out, and she's just the greatest. She is really great supervisor, although she loses attention very quickly. But here is the grand reveal. I always love this, when you do this. Oh, da-da! Look how pretty. It looks so pretty, but still, we need some more. So what I'm going to do is make this look like one of those vintagey kind of things, those vintagey paintings that you see out there. So all I'm doing is using the stencils that I have. As you can see, I don't clean my stencils very well after I use them. It just adds character to them. That's how I see it. And I'm using this antique gold. It's a deep gold. And of course, I'm just using a stencil brush, stenciling away, stencil, stencil, stencil. I'm surprised neither one of the cats came to watch me stencil. I was very surprised. Maybe I don't like the smell of paint. I like it. There, look at that right there. One of the things I did was I did mesh that gold with a little bit of brown, like old antique brown, just to make sure that it stood out. And I don't know, it just gave it a little bit of depth. Depth? I can't say depth right. I always like spit when I say depth. Suffering succotash. Remember that cat? Sylvester? Yeah, I don't know why. Anyway, look at this cute little crowny thing, whatever design. I just had to add it. And of course, here I am again adding a little bit of brown to it, just to add some depth. And there you have it. Look at that. Oh, I like it already. But to add some more depth, that's the word of the day, people, depth. And I'm just adding, I don't know, squeegeeing and just making it like aged. And I love doing these kind of things. That's why I like Shabby Chic and, dark academia. I love the fact that it looks a little vintagey. Speaking of vintage, I'm part of a vintage Valentine's playlist that's coming out next week. So make sure you keep your eyes open for that. And there you have it. Look how beautiful. Now we're not done here because I am adding a little bit of wax and a little bit of brown paint. I have some dried up brown paint, which I didn't throw away because I use it for things like this. And look at that. Talk about depth. Look at how beautiful that looks. And you go over, the stencil, of course, and of course the transfer, just to make sure that you seal it in and protect it. Now, when I found this frame on the side of the road, it was originally silver. And of course, I, whitewashed it, whatever you want to call it. I covered it up because it was, it was missing some of the paint. Now I'm doing the same thing as I did with the painting itself, where I'm using this dried out old, paint that I have, mixing it with the wax and making it like an antique wax. If you have the antique wax, you can skip this step, obviously, but I'm cheap. I get the clear plain wax and then I add to it as I need. One of the things I want to do is I want to do antique and like a blue shade, maybe for something mermaid-like. I don't know. So I'm just using my stencil brush, like I did before, and just brushing it in. And yes, the stencil brush had a little bit of gold still left over. That's okay. That's okay. It's just got a little bit of, I'm just, using all the different colors. And there comes Luna again, my supervisor. She is truly my supervisor. She sits there. So look at that. She just calmly watches me make sure that I got every nook and cranny. And it's just the sweetest thing. I get to spend quality time with my kittens. They're getting big. They're 6 months already. But I just love doing that. And of course, I just illuminate a little bit of the extra. And not to be left behind, little Guru came to make sure that I placed the painting properly in its frame. And I couldn't even show you the full painting without like putting it over her little head. And I just love this. I think it came out so pretty. So my ideas can be used both for spring and for Easter, so I hope that you are inspired to create some of your own. Now, you know how much I love teacups, so I don't know why I decided to just do a whimsical teacup. I just put together all these things with teacups because I have a bunch of teacups hanging around. And look at this mini little teapot. I found a teapot. It was short and stout, and I had to carry it from the store right on out into my home and make something beautiful with it. So here I am working with this I'm a nut. I am really a nut. Talk about the Mad Hatter. I'm like the Mad Crafter. Anyway, here I am going to use this lovely teacup. And there is my cat, because if Luna's not here, what is the point of crafting, right? So here what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to balance out the weight of that little teapot, because I'm going to make a floating teapot instead of a floating teacup, a floating teapot. So I have to balance out the weight, or balance out the weight at the bottom of that styrofoam so that the teacup won't flip over because of the weight of the teapot. Do you understand what I'm saying? Just watch what I'm doing. So basically I'm putting together all these rocks with some glue, and there's Guru, because I need an audience to watch me, So I'm gluing these rocks on the bottom of that styrofoam to create a counterweight with the little teapot. So I try to make sure that the teacup is balanced. You'll see what I mean in a moment. Guru is stepping in on the second shift now. And by the way, I was told that I was saying the name wrong. It should be something else, but the cat's name is Guru. That's it. That's what we're naming the cat. But anyway, so she came in for the second shift, taking over for Luna because she had to take a break, And they have a union. The kittens have a union. Did you not know this? Yes. So here I am placing a very stiff wire. And I think this was just from one of my, and both of them are there now. This is a wire that came off of, I think it was flowers or something. But it's a very heavy gauge wire. And that is what I'm going to use to make the floating teapot. Again, it's not a floating teacup. I usually do a floating teacup. This time it's a floating teapot with two kittens. This was, I don't know why, they were just so curious as to what I was doing. They would not leave me alone. There are points in this video where you will not be able to see what I'm doing because they're just smack dab in the middle, but I kept filming. So here I am. I'm going to place the teacup again using the counterweight at the bottom of the styrofoam, which I'm using rocks so that it can produce a counterweight for the teapot. Now I have to glue the wire so that the teapot doesn't keep flipping around, as you see there. And then I was lucky that the teapot was open. There you go. Look, I got it to balance. Luna was very, very impressed, as you can see, as she walked away. But there you go. Now we have the floating teapot. Now, to cover the wire, we just have to use a little bit of moss because it's going to be flowing into like a mini garden, a mini teacup garden. Now, there's nothing I love more than something whimsical, and usually you would think I would go straight to, Mackenzie Childs, but this time I don't know, teacups. So there are 3 teacup or tea related crafts. This is what they're all going to be, with 2 cats. 3 crafts, 2 cats, 1 lunatic trying to craft in the middle of the night. So anyway, here I am placing the moss. You know how much I love moss. Moss gets everywhere. And this is reindeer moss from the Dollar Tree. And I think the cats thought that it was catnip. I don't know if maybe the smell of the moss is what was, getting them so curious, but that's why they were all over my crafting. It was very hard. I was trying not to get wanted to make sure they didn't get any kind of, hot glue burns or anything. So I was trying to be very careful with the kitty cats and the crafting. By the way, I have to tell you how much I appreciate all the kind, sweet words that you have left in the comments regarding my kittens. As you know, when I lost my tiger last year, it left a bit of a hole in my heart, especially after losing my mom and everything. But these 2 little kittens have really, they keep my days filled with joy just watching them and their curious little ways. They're just adorable. So now let's fill the garden with some flowers. Now these are little flowers that I had from the Dollar Tree from last year. Again, trying to use the stash that I have. Yes, I bought the teapot at Hobby Lobby this year, but I had a gift certificate, so that doesn't count. Anyway, that's how I see it. Anyway, as long as I'm not spending new money and it's just, gift money, that was a gift. So here I'm just filling it up so you can fill up the little garden. And by the way, the teapot came plain white, and I added those little appliques or those stickers, or they weren't transfers, they were stickers. And those were from the Dollar Tree as well, because it just felt too plain with the beautiful flowered teacup underneath. So this is all I'm doing, is just filling up the little garden. I'm putting little rocks in there. I'm putting little flowers. And there you have it. I think it came out so cute, so whimsical, and something kind of like the Mad Hatter's Mad Tea. I think he would like this, don't you? Now to me, nothing screams Easter and spring like Easter eggs and little birdies. I love birds. I love birdhouses, bird cages, anything with birds, bird nests, bird. So I'm going to take advantage of this other beautiful little teacup and create, just imagine that I left the teacup out on my front porch and it was a rainy, blustery day, and all of a sudden a little bird comes to settle their little nest onto my teacup. So that's the whole process here. Same thing, I'm using styrofoam, and the styrofoam I'm using is from the Dollar Tree. The first one was white styrofoam, now I'm using the green styrofoam, but same thing. And now what I'm using is these branches that I just plucked from my front yard. If you ever came by my house, you would see me either picking up rocks or picking up branches to make this craft. If I had moss growing on my trees, I would be grabbing the moss from my trees as well. But I will be using Spanish moss once again from the Dollar Tree. Now here I settled for this branch. And what's cool about branches is you can add other branches to your branch. Does that make sense? So I added another branch, and what I did was put a little bit of moss so you couldn't see the juncture of the 2 branches. Now imagining that not only are there branches, but there are also leaves that come to make part of the nest. So here I'm just adding some leaves that I got from one of my floral bushes from Dollar Tree. And this one I liked because it had a bit of a little bit of a coating, like a paint or something. So they were kind of fuzzy. I don't know, I really like them. And here we go, more moss. So I'm putting moss around the perimeter. Yeah, the perimeter around, because in the middle I'm going to use that shredded coconut that you see there in the background. You'll see in a minute how I use that to create our little nest. I think this is the best material if you're going to create your own nest. It's very easy to work with. It is a bit messy, but hey, it comes with the territory of being crafty and creative. You're gonna make a mess. No doubt about it, you're gonna make a mess. I don't know, maybe there's like, there are some crafters that are very, I don't know, they're very clean and keep everything nice and neat and tidy, but I'm not one of those. So here we go. There, all I did was like swirl around that coconut, shredded coconut that you use in plants and stuff. And that's it. I just created a little nest. I tried to make a little divot in the middle, as you see. And then here's my beautiful little rose-colored bird. I just thought she was so pretty, so shabby chic. I think Whimsical is very part of the Shabby Chic decor. So there's my little bird, and now I'm going to find some little eggs to add to her little nest. Oh yes, wait a second. I'm adding some leaves to the branches to make it look more realistic. Now that she's there, I've settled on her branch, I wanted to add some little leaves as well. And now I'm adding her little eggs. There are her 2 little eggs that she's come to take care of. And she just, nestled into that teacup that had been abandoned after an afternoon tea one day outside by the veranda in the English countryside. Yes, as my imagination goes all wild. But yes, in the English countryside in my little cottage, outside I left one little abandoned teacup, and this little lovely bird decided to make it her home. And I was more than happy to host this lovely little guest to my afternoon tea. Isn't that cute? I love it. Now for this next one, I am using a box of kitten food and an old plastic Dollar Tree frame. The Dollar Tree frame was originally black. I went outside and I spray painted it gold. I know usually I would go white, but this time I was like, yeah, it's got to be whimsical. Let's make it gold. So here I am cutting down this Fancy Feast box. It doesn't have to be a Fancy Feast box. It could be any box you like, but that cat was creeping me out, especially since I had to cut its head on each one of the panels. It was really a creepy looking cat. Anyway, here all I'm doing is cutting it down just to make sure that it fits. I didn't want it to be too wide in the back, but I do want to create a shadow box. And now I'm folding down around 1 inch all the way around to make sure that my little frame fits it, and then I have those little folds will help me to glue the frame to that box. Now I'm using this I love that color. Of course I do. It's teal, it's blue, it's green, those are my favorite colors. I do love pink too. I'm going to be using more pink this year. So anyway, I'm using a glue stick to glue that backdrop into my little shadow box, just to give it a little bit of life. I thought it looked a little bit like an afternoon sky. That's what I thought it looked like. And as you can see, I kept the flaps on the side so that it would cover the side part of this shadow box. There I am, fixing everything in. And again, I'm using a glue stick simply because I didn't want to have to deal with any kind of wrinkles or anything. And it just was so much easier. And for what I needed to do, I think it's perfect. So get your glue sticks out. Thank goodness for glue sticks. Remember the days, back in the days, we didn't have glue sticks when we were young. We had Elmer's. Put that stuff all over your hands. Make like fake skin. You pretend it was fake skin. Anyway, I digress like always. And there's no cats in this. I know the cats probably fell asleep. I was surprised there's no cats around. Anyway, now I'm taking some styrofoam just to be able to lift up what I'm going to add into the shadow box. I'm not going to tell you yet. You gotta watch all the way to the end so you can see what I add to the shadow box. But look at it, it's looking really nice already. So to that styrofoam, of course, I'm going to glue it down to the inside of my little shadow box. And then on top of that, of course, what else is whimsical and very much a part of spring and Easter? Moss, more moss. So this moss I actually got from Hobby Lobby. Why? Because I had a gift certificate. I gotta use it. And I just wanted to use something that was a little greener. Now they do have sheets of moss, but the sheets of moss are more expensive, and I'm cheap as can be. So I was like, I can just pop it in there using this little, I guess, a coffee stirrer. Very good to use, especially when you're gluing down moss with hot glue. And I'm just settling that in so it looks like grass, like the grass from a garden. I really want to create like a little garden scene in this shadow box because it's Easter, it's springtime, and it'll give you, especially if you're still dealing with snow and wintry weather. I'm so sorry for you. I mean, we're in February, but I know a lot of people are still dealing with snow and cold weather, but the hope of spring is right around the corner. I think that's very important to keep in mind. Now, as you can see, I used that little wooden table that I had gotten at the Dollar Tree, and I cut off a bit of the back so that it would fit properly inside of my shadow box. Now I'm taking some more branches that I had pulled from my front yard, and I'm going to create like a mini tree. Again, I'm going to add some more branches. Actually, I wanted to add a stronger base for this so that I can glue it into the styrofoam. So now to this little branch, I'm going to add some leaves and some greenery and just make it look like a mini tree within my shadow box. I think this is so pretty. I haven't made a shadow box in a long time, so I was very happy to do this. And again, I really love working with teacups and, anything having to do with a scene, an afternoon tea. I love that. If you've never had an afternoon tea, treat yourself one of these days. You really should find a place nearby where you can enjoy an afternoon tea in a lovely garden somewhere. So this is it. I'm just adding some more greenery, and now I'm going to add a few little flowers, little blossoms to my beautiful little tree. I don't know what it is, but lately I love doing little miniature things. Like, I don't know if I would get into a whole, little house, miniature house, but I do like to do little projects like this. It's just so cute. So here I am affixing the tree into my little garden. Everything's little this, little that. And just putting the tree into my little garden, as you can see there. And now I'm going to add the table and all the other accoutrements to what would be an afternoon tea in the middle of a garden. So it's very fun to do this, especially if you can find items at the Dollar Tree. And I have, that little table's from the Dollar Tree. The branches from outside, the little flowers and leaves, again, from the Dollar Tree. So this is not a very expensive project if you want to make this. And again, if you wanted to, add some lights to this, add some fairy lights. This would be so cool to have, again, in a little girl's room or even in your room. Now, I took one of these little mini bottles. I don't know if you've seen these little mini bottles that you have at the Dollar Tree. And to it, I'm just going to add some little blossom. I keep saying, how many times am I going to say little, people? A lot for this one. So I'm adding some little blossoms. And as you can see, I added some hot glue into the glass bottle. And it does get very hot when you hold this bottle. But it's cool because it makes it look like there's water inside the vase. And there are my little blossoms to add to my table. Now, of course, I wasn't going to just add the table and the vase and everything else without a proper tablecloth. So after the fact that I had glued the table in, I decided to add a lace tablecloth, but it doesn't take that much. It's just a little piece of lace left over and just getting it into the table. It didn't take that long, but you start fiddling around with it, trying to make it perfect, trying to folds, put the little folds here and there, but it works out just fine. And I love the lace that I used. So now I'm going to put together my little tea set inside of that garden tea escape. And look, I got this from Dollar Tree. It was a Barbie set and it was all these bright colors and I painted it white. And I was thinking, and here come my kittens, because there's no such thing as a tea party without guests. So here are my kittens to join me. And yes, that is a kitten butt in the middle of what I was trying to do. So I painted everything white with a spray paint outside, and I didn't like it. It was too white. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to use some pink, not blue, not green. I'm going to use some pink. So here I am just painting the whole little tea set pink. And now you're going to say, but Annie, wasn't it pink to begin with? Yes, but it was like a bubblegum pink. I wanted a very light, soothing pastel Easter pink. Isn't that cute? Look at this. So now I'm just gluing my little tea set into, am I like describing everything I'm doing? You can see what I'm doing, right? There you go. It's so funny when I do this late at night. But there you see, I am placing my little teacups, and I have a little plate of little mini goodies that I just had around the house, because why not? Mini little goodies. And I just thought that was so perfect. I wish I could go to that whimsical little tea garden and enjoy a cup of tea with you. Wouldn't you love to do that? We should have a virtual tea party. Why don't we do that? I think we're going to do that. I don't know when. I'm so busy. One of these afternoons, I'm going to say, hey, prepare your tea and let's, get some of your favorite biscuits and let's have a live virtual tea party. So here I am just cutting those corners so that I can affix my frame to my shadow box. And again, it was a shadow box that I made out of a box that I was going to just throw away in the garden. In the garbage. I don't throw things away in the garden. And no, don't do that. Don't throw things away in your garden. Just, unless it's for composting or something like that. Just throw it away in the garbage, but don't throw it away in the garbage because you can make a shadow box. Oh my God, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore, people. Lordy be. So here I am affixing the frame to my shadow box, and there you have it. Let's get started, Dawn. Now for this project, you'll need a cylindrical vase from the Dollar Tree and a cat. Yes, the cat is required, or some pet or child of some kind, to keep you focused as I try to stay. So here I am with Luna and Kudu, the stars of this show, because we know you come here just for the cats, not for me, but that's fine. They're so cute. I get it. I totally get it. So what I'm doing here is using air dry clay. Yes, I am not using foam clay, and sometimes I wonder if maybe I should have used foam clay. I am still getting crackage. Yes, I still get crack. You know, say no to crack, people. That's right, I'm still getting some cracks in my air dry clay, but for this project, we'll just run with it. It goes well with the project. So I flattened out the air dry clay enough to cover the cylindrical vase. I like saying cylindrical. You don't use that a lot in sentences, you know, cylindrical. And all I did was cover the vase, and now I'm creating a door. Because why? I am creating, I don't know if it's a gnome home or if it's a fairy home. It's something cute and whimsical. Let's just say that. So I created a door, kind of, and now I'm creating the windows with the back of a cup so that I can create some nice rounded windows, because that makes sense. And I don't know, I went the whimsical route because I have another whimsical crafting opportunity coming up where I have to make mushrooms. So I used mushrooms in this craft, so well, now I gotta make another one for the next video with mushrooms. But as you can see here, I'm just making those cute little round windows, and it's easy as can be when you have a little cup like that, or maybe you have a cookie cutter, and that would be perfect as well. So while I'm fiddling around, let me tell you a little bit about Dawn. I just popped into Dawn's channel one day. It came up on my feed, and I decided, hey, it's called Shabby Meets Bling. So I had to check it out. So I really enjoyed not only her crafts, but getting to talk to her on the phone. We are just two peas in a pod. We're both wacky and zany, and we love to create. So again, I hope you check out her channel right after my video today. Now I want to make this look like a log. Yes, a log, because where does a fairy live, or a gnome, or any kind of little elfish thing? They would live in a log. At least that's what I think. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. But for this little fairy creature, I am going to make it look like they're living in a log. So I am using my little tool from Dollar Tree. This is a clay sculpting tool, and all I'm doing is scoring the outside to the delight of little Luna here, just scoring the outside to make it look like the ridges of a log. And it's very easy to do. And I also, what I did was I utilized the, any kind of divots or anything in the clay and tried to create those into knots. So as you can see there, I kind of made it look like a knot or any kind of defect that would be natural. It's not a defect, it's a natural occurrence in wood. So that's what I was trying to do while Luna is trying to chew up my little tools. And there comes Kudu, and now it's complete cat mayhem and mischief. The beauty of crafting with cats. Now I am creating, yes, Kudu is helping to score the outside of the clay as well. Now I'm trying to create a little window over my door because I thought it would be cool to have a little arched window. And all I'm doing here is creating the little, I don't know, the beams? The beams? Is it called beams? I don't know. But it's what is on a window to make it look more like a window. And Guru was just fascinated with my little clay, my little clay snake. And of course, she wanted to take my little clay snake. So again, kitten mayhem always happens in the craft room. Now with these two, it's very special. And if you don't like cats, I'm so sorry. I apologize, but this is how it is, people. I never had cats in my videos before, even though I've had cats. But this is the first time that they have selected to become interactive helpers during my videos. And yeah, I don't know if she's helping me or not. I guess she's making me speed up my process and just get it done. Get it done, Annie. Because we gotta pet some kitty cats now. At this moment in my project, I decided to create like a stone border around my door. And this is also the time, and I don't know if this happens to you, let me know in the comments below, where you're looking at your project and you're saying, okay, this is nothing like I thought it was going to be. It's not turning out right. I don't know. But I kept moving forward. I just keep moving forward because I have hope. I always have hope. So there you can see I am creating the individual little blocks or rocks that are, bordering my door. The door is going to look like it's made out of wood as well, but I just thought it needed like a little more definition between the door and the rest of the wood. And again, I'm creating the little window panes for my little windows. And I just thought this was adorable. I should have added a third window just to create another escape for light. And maybe for the next time. And yes, I might do this once again because I really did have fun with it. I will create a different type of little fairy house or gnome house, whatever you would like to call this. Next, I decided to create some little awnings, and I guess they're called awnings. Let me know if they're not called awnings, but that's the closest word I can find for these little covers that I put over the windows just to make it a little more homey. And I don't know, I really started having more fun once I put the little awnings on, and I just felt like it was coming together. So again, if you have troubles with your projects, and there are my two little helpers now. If you have troubles with your projects and halfway through you don't feel like you're making it exactly how you want to, keep going, keep trying, and don't give up on yourself, and don't be so harsh on yourself. Give yourself some grace and enjoy the process. And here we have double kitty cuddles because, I'm a sucker for them. Look at that. I let the base dry out for at least 2 to 3 hours, since this is air dry clay, simply because in the next step I was going to use some watered down paint. And what I'm using is a very dark black brown, and as you can see there, I'm watering it down because I want to make sure that it gets into all the details, especially into the wood carvings, so that it looks more like wood. Now in the end, this will not have a wood color. It will have a wood color, but not the brown kind of wood color. You'll see. But here I'm just wiping down the extra. Oh, and the kitty cats hit the camera, and now they have taken over the entire space. That was Luke's hand. Don't think I have 3 hands, but yeah, they've taken the entire space because, well, they're special that way. But all I'm doing is painting and then dabbing off the extra or excess paint. Just to make sure that, again, it goes into all of the details. I'm doing the same also for the little stone border that I put around the door. At this point, we have a very crucial step. Once we finish painting everything, we must take time and have some kitty cat cuddles. And yes, this is time to enjoy some kitty cat cuddles as she sleeps in the sunlight in my craft room. I can't resist. Who could resist? Next, what I decided to do is kind of create a stone wall, and I did this by adding clay and then trying to embed, and I say trying because I'm going to tell you a quick step, trying to embed the rocks into the wet clay. I thought that would be enough, but no. I have to tell you, you have to take some E6000 or B4000 or whatever, B7000, there you go. And you have to glue each rock by itself. that goes for all items that you add to your clay. Here I added a little doorknob with a bead, and now I'm adding these little stickers that I had gotten from Dollar Tree. They're like these little puffy stickers, and I decided that would look cool on the door, just to add a little bit of a metal design on the door and make it look more like a door. I don't know, I hope it looks more like a door to you, because it looks more like a door to me. But yes, remember to glue those stones, because they will be falling out the whole time you're trying to do other things. I had to glue them on one by one afterwards. Now it's time for moss. So underneath each window, I decided to create like a little ledge to put flowers and moss and just make it even more whimsical. Hey, whimsy is the word. It's not grease. It's whimsy is the word. Whimsy's the word. It's the word. And now we're taking whimsy to the next level with Luna's head in the way. Luna, could you please move, darling? I love you. Okay. Thank you, sweetie. Another kitten cuddles intermission. Sorry about this, people, but I mean, again, who could resist? Who could resist? Kitty break. And okay, it's time to go now, sweetie. And off she went. I think Luke took them away for a little bit and just gave him some cuddles. So all I'm doing here is adding my moss, and you'll see why the little fairy lights came up. They'll come up again. You'll see. Ready to take whimsy to another level? Well, get your fairy lights out and get your glue gun, because we are going to create bioluminescent mushrooms. You heard me right. I don't know if those exist, but in my world, they do. And what we're going to do is we're going to create mushroom stems out of the actual fairy lights. I took the lights, grouped them together in threes, and twisted them together to create a stem. Once you have the fairy light wires all twisted together, all you have to do is pour some hot glue, and the lights will shine through the hot glue once it dries. Now on the side there, I'm going to create the mushroom tops, and all I'm doing is dropping some hot glue into circles, letting it dry, and then adding it to them a little more as they dry. And now you can see how adorable these fairy lights look with these mushrooms. So I'm going to add this to the base of my little fairy tree house. Fairy tree house, I like that. Before I do that, however, I am adding some more greenery and branches and trees, or things that look like trees, and just some little branches from my stash of stuff I already have. But there at the base, I'm going to start adding the beautiful little light up mushrooms, but not before they completely dry. So I'm setting them aside for a minute, and now I'm completing those little awnings with this beautiful mushroomy yellow color. I just wanted to give it a nice bright happy color. Since the door was red, I wanted to make sure I added some other colors, and here I am. I added a little bit of a green vine to the fairy lights wire to cover the wire as best as I could, and the vine was perfect as I glued it to the base of my fairy treehouse. And with the remainder of the vine, I'm going to use the lights that were still remaining, and I'm actually going to put them on the vine, tie them to the vine, or twist them to the vine, and then I'm going to put that vine around the door, and you'll see how cute that looks all together with the lights on. I think it's just adorable. Now you're probably wondering, what am I going to do with the little light switch? How am I going to hide it? Where am I going to put it? You'll see in just a moment. Now using some clay, all I'm going to do is create another little flower pot that's going to be colored the same color as the awning on top of the windows. That's all I'm going to do, and it's going to hide that little switch. I glued the switch to the side of my little fairy treehouse, and all I'm going to do is add some moss, and ba-boom, there's my little light switch. And look at how cute these mushrooms look. Truly, truly magical. I mean, I hope you're enjoying this as much as I have, because I really want to make more of these whimsical little houses with those bright mushrooms. And I will be part of a mushroom collaboration, so you'll be sure to see more of these light up mushrooms in that project. Now you can use my fairy treehouse as a vase and just add some flowers, and the flowers will just flow over the top. But I decided to create a topper for my vase. Here I am using foam, styrofoam, that I glued onto a glass candle topper, And I added some foam clay to the top of that, which I painted and it's dried. And now I'm just going to glue a whole bunch of leaves that I had just in my stash. So here's the best way to use, leftover flowers that you have on stems, or I'm sorry, I actually should say leftover leaves left on stems after you've used the blossoms. Just keep those leaves because everything is useful. Everything is, to me, you can always find a use for extra craft supplies that you have around the house. So all I'm doing is covering up all of that painted green foam clay, and I like that it's foam clay because I can also just push in flowers if I wanted to, but I actually glued down these little blossoms that I also had in my stash just sitting around. And here you have it. I'm adding all different types of flowers, and at the very top I decided that it would be so cute to add little daisies at the top of this green mound. I can't tell you how much fun I had creating this little fairy treehouse. I think it's evident. You can see it as I'm working on this. I'm just so happy with it. And now for one last touch, I decided to add a flicker candle, a battery-powered flicker candle to my fairy treehouse, just to give it a little extra touch of magic. And there it is with the topper. Now, let's truly bring this magical little treehouse to life. Oh, it's no time to nap, little girls. Let's continue with this next project. Look at this birdhouse. Oh my gosh. It's a birdhouse and a clock. How much more can I love it? Now, it looked fine white, but it kind of like, it was dull. So I thought, well, if I add some pink to it, it'll bring the color up. But then I kept adding and adding and adding, and you'll see what I'm talking about. To distress it real quickly, I just used a little bit of like sienna brown and did a dry brushing all over this little clock, birdhouse, whatever you want to call it, and it just aged it perfectly and really brought out the beautiful shabby chicness of it. Now the clock would have been fine if I left it as it was, but it needed to be elevated, so I took advantage of one of those glass taper candle holders that we should all have in our stash. You should have at least 2 or 3 on hand at all times, because sometimes they run out at the store, and all you do is paint it to match whatever your project is. And look how lovely it looks. To add the clock to the little stand to the taper candle holder, of course I used E6000 or B4000, whatever the number is, and a little bit of hot glue. Now I'm using some of this wonderful paper. Look at how perfectly pink it matched. It just perfectly matched with the paint that I had, which I was thrilled. And once again, here are some of those beautiful shabby chic ephemera pages that I received from Grabby, which I will tell you more about in another video. In a separate video, I'll have an unboxing, but I couldn't help myself. I had to go ahead and start using these wonderful papers. I think they are perfect, especially to add some beautiful graphics to this birdhouse. Now, if you need to find graphics, you can always go to graphicsfairy.com. It's always free. And once again, here is Luna, and she's helping me to pick out which artwork we're going to put on the front of the clock. She was very concerned, and she is my quality conscious cat. Yes, she's a quality conscious cat, and makes sure that I only present to you the very best in shabby chic decor. Here I am just decoupaging all of those little pieces of paper from the ephemera that I have, and I love the fact that I found the little watch and everything, and then all this work that I took the time to do, and I just covered it up. What? I'm like, wait a minute, I put all these pretty papers on, you can't see it because I'm gonna add all these flowers, but It doesn't matter. It's there. I know it's there, and you know it's there too. And it actually adds to the beauty of the clock. But all I'm doing here is adding some, some twigs and some branches and some leaves, just to really make it very countrified and pretty and shabby chic. I love shabby chic. I love whimsy. I love all those kind of things, cottage core. It's just, I don't know, it just harkens back to this beautiful time, or it relaxes me. It's so pretty. And pink is so pretty. And I'm so happy that I've reclaimed my pink love. And I just wanted to make that public, that I love pink. And I think it's absolutely lovely. And I want to thank Kay and Trish for always loving pink and just inspiring me to do this wonderful pink thrift flip themed video. I just like it all. So all I'm doing here is adding some Spanish moss. Ole! I don't know why it's called Spanish moss, but I don't know. It doesn't speak to me in Spanish or anything like that. It's not even. It's even the packaging isn't even in Spanish. It's in French. Go figure. Anyway, things I think of while I'm doing the voiceovers is just bizarre. I'm serious. You guys must think I'm, I'm just lost my mind. Oh, she's lost her mind again. But I'm so happy. But oh my gosh, it's cute enough, right? Cute enough as it is. But no, there's more, because we got roses. We got these lovely, soft, baby pink roses that I'm going to add to this clock. And it's just one thing after another. And as if that's not enough, I'm adding a little bit, darker fuchsia roses and white roses. It's just, can you tell this is my favorite? This is my favorite of the day. I have to admit, this was my favorite. And as if that's not enough, I'm also going to add a very happy and proud little bird that loves the fact that her birdhouse is actually a clock. Which is weird, because you can't live in the birdhouse if there's a clock in it. But I guess she tells time, and she's happy with that. So here's my lovely little bird, and I thought it was perfect that she or he is in green, but I think she just looks so happy and proud on top. And I added a little bit more Spanish moss on top. And it was funny because I was actually, consulting with my good friend Jane. We were talking on the phone while I was crafting, and I was asking her, did she like a yellow bird or a green bird? By the way, those birds are on my Amazon shopping list, or my Amazon link, so check it out down below. Again, I just had so much fun, of course, because I love birds. I love shabby chic. I love birdhouses. I love flowers. Put it all together, I'm a happy girl. So I hope you're happy watching this and you're enjoying everything that I'm, sharing with you today in this thrift flip road trip challenge. My first DIY, I decided to create a little bit of a mushroom garden in a jar. So we're going to get started with a little bit of a styrofoam ball, and that's going to be our base for the rest of our little mushrooms. Now you can use mushrooms that you get from the Dollar Tree. There's wooden mushrooms, there's styrofoam mushrooms, and you can make your own mushrooms. I love to make my own with foam clay. It's the perfect medium to make your own little mushrooms. I also know that there's some molds out there, I believe from IOD, they created some wonderful little molds that have mushroom designs on it. So however it is that you want to create your mushrooms, come and join me and create a little mushroom garden in a jar. My quality control cat is here on the job, and they're both very diligent watching how I create my mushroom mound. And all I did again was use a styrofoam ball, cut it in half, and then added some hot glue and some moss to the top of this. I don't know what it is with moss and cats. Have you seen your cats react like this to moss? They are so curious. Now, I have these wonderful mushrooms that I got at the Dollar Tree, and these are resin mushrooms. So I thought it would be perfect. Instead of starting from scratch, why not have some mushrooms that you can easily find at the Dollar Tree? I hope you can find these. You can also find mushrooms at Hobby Lobby and at Michael's. It's a very big thing this season. Actually, I think this cottage core design Decor actually started a few years ago, but really got very popular in 2020. When everyone was stuck at home, everyone hearkened for a simpler life, and that's where cottagecore design really started to blow up. I don't know if you've ever seen any videos on YouTube, but they're very relaxing and very sweet. But I would like to create a little mushroom garden in a jar so that I can escape to a garden every so often when I look at this jar. And also escape my little kitty cats as they push everything off of my table here. So again, all I'm doing is securing those mushrooms with glue. It's hot glue to my little mushroom mound. In a previous video, I created a little fairy house out of a glass vase, and the technique I used to create some bioluminescent mushrooms was using my little flickering fairy lights and just gathering them together. Because they're on a wire, it's very easy to create the stems out of the wire and just wire them together by twisting the wire around. Now, these cats had oh my goodness, look at the two of them. Just stop misbehaving. It's just too much. It's bad enough I can't craft, but now they're fighting around my project. This is not good. Okay, let's get them off of the table now. Back to the bioluminescent mushrooms, all I did was twist together the fairy lights so that I can create 4 little mushrooms. First, I secured them to the parchment paper, and then I'm just going to drip some hot glue on top of those stems to create my see-through stems. It works so perfectly well. You would be so surprised. And I'm terrified because I have a cat on the craft table while I'm trying to drip this hot glue on these stems. So I'm trying to be very cautious with little kudu sitting there. Now I did create, after I created the stems, I created the little mushroom tops just by creating little drops of rounds or whatever with the hot glue, and it's easy enough just to drop some in a circular fashion and create the little tops. And then all I do is fasten them to my mushroom stems, and it's a perfect little mushroom, and they light up. It's so wonderful. I hope you try this technique at home. It's just so much fun. Now, to finally assemble the full little mushroom garden, I'm going to include these bioluminescent mushrooms on the outer sides of the mushroom mound, simply because I didn't want to hide them behind the other mushrooms. I wanted you to be able to see them outside of the jar. And again, you can use this as a night light or as a centerpiece, as anything you'd like included in your spring decor. It's just so lovely and so much fun. I can't resist creating these. And again, if you want to see how I use these in a little fairy house, my previous video of a fairy house, you can see the link here. To finish it off, I did add a little bit more moss, and I added some tiny little blossoms that I had in my stash of little flowers. Those little mini succulents I got from the Dollar Tree, and just added a whole bunch of little flowers. Now, it didn't fit my original jar, but it did fit this larger jar. So all I'm doing is making sure that I can add this to the jar. It was a little big. I had to squeeze it in, but it fit in the end, and it was just perfect. I absolutely love this. I hope you create a little mushroom fantasy garden in a jar for your own home decor this spring. I absolutely love this. I don't know if this is my favorite because I have another one coming up, but I do love using those clear mushrooms as little lights inside of this mushroom garden in a jar. So I hope you try out this idea. Now, I have to mention Sherry of Canterbury Cottage. I love that channel so much, and she is just so innovative and gives so many inspirations. Now, she and I both had the same little mouse. She made a little lamp out of the mouse, but I created a mushroom lamp for my mouse. So I wanted to give a shout out to Sherry and thank her so much for all the inspiration that she provides. You can find this adorable little cast iron mouse placeholder in my Amazon shopping list down below. It's in the spring collection,
the way
but
I
will
created
include
my
a
mushroom
link
lamp
down below.
was once again
it
using
is just
my
adorable
lights
and perfect
and
for spring.
using a styrofoam, the other half of the styrofoam ball that I used earlier, and created the little top to this cute little red and polka dotted mushroom that this mouse is very happy to hold on high as he walks through a darkened forest to get home.
Once again, using foam clay, I created the top of this little mushroom, and I also created the stem, which went around the holder part of the little mouse. I think it's just so cute. Then all I did was cut an indentation into the top. As you can see, I also covered the bottom of the mushroom top, so you didn't see, just plain naked styrofoam. And all I'm going to do is insert that little holder into the mushroom top. It is perfect. And again, the clay covering the little wire or whatever is just perfect to create that mushroom stem. Then all I have to do is prepare the little box that my little mushroom holding mouse is going to be standing on, because I didn't want you to see all the wires or even the switch that is going to be from my my fairy lights. I pulled the little fairy lights through that tiny little hole. And then I should have done this before. I didn't think of it, but now I'm sharing it with you. I should have wound the lights around the wire before I put the clay on it. And yes, even though it's clay, because it's foam clay and it's lightweight, you actually do see the lights through the foam clay. So here I am wrapping it around the foam clay. I am going to cover the wire with the foam clay a little more. And then I created like a little halo that went up into the clay that was on the bottom part. There you go. You can see it as I turned it on. The bottom part of the mushroom. So it's hidden by the mushroom cap. So it just looks like the lights are coming straight from the mushroom. Now I have to tell you, I started painting, but my little kitty cats got in the way and the camera stopped. So I'm so sorry you missed that part. But basically, it's just painting the mushroom cap red and painting the bottom of that little the box that's going to hold the mushroom green, of course. Now I'm adding the white polka dots to this red mushroom, and I have to say I really do love this red and white motif for spring. It's just so cute. And there I have my two little cats helping me out. My goodness, they are always so curious as to what I'm doing in my craft room. So take your time and add your dots and make it look so cute. Now to the bottom of this box, of course, I'm going to add more moss to make it look more natural. But before I do that, I wanted to add my mushrooms so that they had a very secure connection to the wood. So it's resin mushrooms and also foam clay mushrooms that I created, as well as a little wooden clay pot, a little wooden pot, and a little wooden mushroom as well. So once again, here I am designing a tiny little mushroom garden that is accompanying my little mouse friend. And I am so happy I created this. Again, it's all the whimsy that you can have in one decor piece, I guess. But again, take all the mushrooms that you can find, create the mushrooms that you can, and just add and just embellish as much as you like this cute little garden. Add moss, add little flowers, whatever you need to make this little garden come to life. Here's my next project. I found this wonderful wood cutout amongst my stash. I had received this in one of the Michael's grab boxes. I don't believe it was last year, actually the year before, believe it or not. And I hadn't used it because I didn't know where I had it, but since I organized my craft room, I was able to find it. And I also had this wonderful napkin with these bunny rabbits, and I said, oh, how perfect. Now, I don't know where these bunny rabbits napkin came from, but the other green gingham napkin that you'll see in just a moment, that came from the Dollar Tree. So there you see, I was taking off all the plies from the bunny napkin. Now I'm going to do it to the other napkin. And if you have trouble with it, one of the things I do is I put tape on both the top napkin and the bottom napkin, and that helps me to separate the two plies, or three plies actually, as some napkins might have. So here I'm just figuring out exactly how am I going to do this, and I was like, oh, I wish I had a little, I didn't want to open up I didn't want to get the big iron out and iron down. I should have ironed down the creases, but I didn't do it, and it still worked out okay. So here I have my bunny napkin, and I'm going to use that for the center egg. Now again, I was struggling with, I wanted to make this really shabby chic, and I wasn't sure this was shabby chic, but I made it shabby chic, you'll see. Or at least I think it's shabby chic. I like the end result. I hope you like it too. So here are the bunny rabbits, and here's my little kitty cat. There is Luna once again. Oh my goodness, I cannot craft without these little kitty cats around me. And I kind of like that. I kind of like coming home, having dinner with Luke, and then crafting with my cats. It's very relaxing for me, especially after the hassle of traffic and all that stuff. Do you guys have a lot of traffic where you're at? I know I've talked about my traffic with you before. I usually have like an hour or more of traffic each way for work. And luckily I love what I do, because if not, it would really, really be tough. But yeah, I really do love what I do, and I love coming home to my son and my home and my kitty cats and my crafts. So now I'm going to decoupage. Why am I talking so much about myself? I don't know. I hope you enjoy it anyway. I just talk. Anyway, here I am just mushing down that other napkin. I don't know if this is the right technique. I know some people use, that's the right way to do it. What is that called? Parchment paper. Some people use plastic paper. Some people use parchment paper. Some people iron. I'm actually getting a little iron from HTV rods, so I'm excited about using that with my decoupaging crafts from now on. And as you can see, I use that little flower design not just at the bottom of the little egg, but I thought it would be cute to have it at the top. Using a sanding block, I'm getting rid of those the leftovers on the edges. Usually I light it up, I turn it on with fire and just let it burn through, but I was kind of afraid of doing that with this particular craft. I didn't think it would be right, and I didn't want singed, napkin edges. I just wanted this to look really pretty. But then I took that same sanding block and I sanded down the paper itself. I wanted it to look worn and shabby, to make it part of the shabby chic look. And here is Luna making sure that I'm doing this correctly. Now I added a ribbon right to the middle, and I was just going to leave it like that. And then I thought, no, I need something more. It needs like a big old bow. I'm bow challenged. So I created like a shabby bow. I don't know if this is a shabby bow or it's just, I don't know. You decide. What it was a bunch of tails. So I don't know if that makes sense either. It's like, it's not a bow, but it's like a ribbon thing. You'll see what I'm saying. So I took like 6 inches of this 2.5 wide ribbon, and then 2-inch ribbon, and then 1.5 wide ribbon, all in the coordinating colors so that it would just really pop. And I just crisscrossed 2 of these ribbon tail things. I don't know what to call them, guys. I don't know what to call them. But I just crisscrossed them, and I think I really like the way it turned out. I didn't want to put a big bow right there in the middle. I just wanted this to be a little simpler. I don't know if it's simpler. I didn't know if I made it more complicated. By the way, I am not only bow challenged, but what is it with me cutting dovetails? Do you start cutting dovetails and you cut it on one end and then you cut it on the other, and then you keep cutting until you've cut off your complete ribbon? That happened to me. You'll see that one ribbon is really, really short because I kept cutting it and trying to make it better, and it just wasn't working out. So I tied them all together with some of this, oh gosh, what are the fuzzy wires things called? Pipe cleaners? They used to be called pipe cleaners. I know they're called something else now, but you know what I'm talking about. But I used one of those fuzzy pipe cleaners to tie it all together, and then I glued it down to that main ribbon. And now I took a little felt piece, a little round piece of felt that was green, and I added some leaves to it. And now I'm adding these beautiful ranunculus, I think they're called, roses, and I love these. And then I'm adding a little bit of baby's breath, and I think that is the perfect color combination for this. And I think that's what really took it over to the shabby chic side, and I hope you agree. Anyway, I think this is lovely, and I hope you do too. And if you happen to find these forms, I know they sell wood forms like this at the Dollar Tree. You can combine 3 of them together and make something very similar to this. I hope you enjoyed this. I really had so much fun making all of these crafts, and especially crafting alongside a friend of mine like Sandra. She has been so kind and so supportive, not only to me, but to a lot of other smaller channels as well. And it means the world to us. And just crafting alongside her and being able to not only craft with her, but use her wonderful designs from her Etsy store, it really made me so happy and so proud. I hope you enjoyed this as well. Now, let's take a second look at all of these items that I created for Easter and spring. I like to call this project my deconstructed umbrella. I know it sounds fancy, but it's basically I'm tearing apart a Dollar Tree umbrella to make something really pretty. I think that was too long and not as like, I don't know, shishi boku kind of thing. So yeah, basically I'm taking this dollar store umbrella, taking it apart, and as you can see, Guru is there to help me out. Do you have a black cat that likes to hide amongst black chairs, black shawls, black anything, black, purses even? This little cat knows she's black and she likes to camouflage herself in anything that is black around the house. So here she is deciding to help me out. She's stabilizing the umbrella as I'm taking it apart from the armature of the basic umbrella. Now, you're not going to be able to use this umbrella as a regular umbrella. Like, don't think you're going to be able to close this. Something to keep in mind, because once I created this umbrella, I couldn't close it. So I had to make sure I could get through the doors with it. You remember this because it happened to me. Anyway, here I am covering all of the steel armature with some green floral tape. I think it's very important to take this step. I know it's a process. Sometimes it's best to watch or listen to something while you're doing this. This whole umbrella is a process. So make sure you're watching something fun or listening to fun music that you like, or saying prayers, whatever, because it takes a while and it's very repetitive. So as you can see, just continuing to cover the armature in that green floral tape. I do take the time to cover this tape or paint this tape with a little bit of brown or beigey paint, simply to make it camouflage more into the project itself. Now Luna has also joined us in the effort, and again she's anchoring the umbrella while I am trying to cover the armature in the green floral tape. By the way, I'm wearing my pajamas there, as you can see, but I don't care. I'm crafting. It doesn't matter. And my cats don't care either. Now I have finished with everything, and I'm using this wired twine to create this base. It's just wired twine that I got from the Dollar Tree. Looks like a spider web, but it's not. Now pull out all the greenery you have around the house. It could be from the Dollar Tree, as you can see here. This garland is perfect. And the other greenery that I had from the from Hobby Lobby. And all I am doing is I'm going to cover that armature so it doesn't look like a spider web. I mean, if you like it looking like a spider web, hey, by all means. Listen, I'm taking a good look at this, and this might be a great idea for a parasol for dark academia. So I might be using the same idea and create a beautiful big spider web based parasol for Halloween. I'm telling you, I will do that. Now I am taking floral wire or any kind of basic wire. This one's green, obviously. And I am just going to secure all of my greenery to my armature just to hide it. You don't have to do it to every single piece of, the armature or of the twine, but it does help because you'll see that it, once you have it in there and you have it secure, you can bush out the, you can spread out the leaves, make it all bushy and pretty, and it really serves a purpose at the end. So here I'm just starting still. Again, another process. Watch a movie. Get your Jane Austen, podcasts out or whatever. Something fun and romantic, because this is going to be something fun and romantic at the very end. Or make a team of it. Get together with a couple of friends and each one of you gets a side and you just put it together. It is, I think this would be a lot of fun with friends trying to create just one big project. So here you can see that I'm pretty much done with the whole project. Now I'm going to do not just the wires that go down, but the cross wires as well. Let me tell you something though. If you have cats, they're going to take this as their personal canopy. Both of them always wanted to be under this umbrella while I was making it. It was the funniest thing, but it was the cutest thing as well. I had to make sure I had to keep them away from the hot glue gun though, because they were very curious. Now I'm taking this bushel of, I guess it's baby breaths or lily of the valley, whatever you want to call it, and just add that to the base of this umbrella. Again, this is the tedious part, but once this is done, then that's when the fun begins. That's when you have to pull out all of your blossoms, all of your flowers, everything that you have left over from Easter, from everything,
And now you're going to start adding your florals. This, to me, this was so much fun. I wish I had more florals. Actually do. I could continue, but I thought I had to stop after a while. So all you do is continuously add your florals to the armature. Again, it helps so much that that steel armature was covered in the floral tape because it allowed me to glue the flowers, the leaves, whatever I wanted to this whole umbrella. Now, this is your creation. I'm using all of the florals that I had, and I wanted to use bright, happy florals. For this reason, I took out that white rose and I put in this funky, fun, hot pink rose that I had. But imagine if you wanted to, you can create this all with white roses or white flowers, blossoms of any kind, and just have accents of your accent color for your wedding. And if it's for a baby shower, it could be all pink or all blue or half and half, whatever you'd like. But this will add so much fun decor to any event or just to a corner in your home. You can put this on the gift table at a baby shower or bridal shower, or even just have it for photo ops. It is so cute. I hope that you enjoyed as I put this together, and I really don't know what I'm going to do with this, but I am so happy with it, and maybe there'll be someone who will need it down the line for their own baby shower or bridal shower. I mean, wedding season is just around the corner, so if you are in preparations, this might be the way to go. Again, what a great idea. Instead of having to have a big backdrop, you just have this beautiful floral umbrella that people can hold and take pictures.
How I acquired this box? Well, I found it at work. They were going to get rid of it. It was part of a gift that someone had received. And of course, I asked them for the box because we know what it's like when you find a good box like this. You can't give it up. And initially, I thought I was going to make it into like a junk drawer, like, make it like a, mixed media kind of thing. But then I saw that watch or that clock face and I had to use it. So here I am using this little box that I believe I got from the Dollar Tree, and it was filled with little wood cutouts, I believe, for one of the holidays. I think it was Christmas. So I thought this would be perfect for the face of my clock. As you can see, I am just removing all of that inner part because I do need to access the very center of the clock so I can add to the clock face the arms and clock arms. Are they called arms? Yeah, I guess they're clock arms or whatever. Hey, Kudu, little Kudu. By the way, thank you all for your wonderful well wishes as we celebrated a year of life with my cute little crafting kittens. Can't believe it's been a year already. Okay, now I'm going to add, look at this clock. Oh my gosh, is this shabby chic? Ladies and gentlemen, there's gentlemen out there that might like shabby chic. But my goodness, how could I pass up a face like that? I mean, really, how can I pass up a clock face like that? So here, all I'm doing is I'm using Mod Podge, but I am using the ironing method for this particular item simply because I wanted to make sure there was absolutely not a single wrinkle at all. So what I did is I brushed the Mod Podge onto the item, let it dry just for a few minutes or so, and when it stops being tacky, which, well, most of my I don't know, are any of my, crafts tacky? You let me know and I'll stop being tacky. Anyway, when the Mod Podge stops being tacky, then we're going to use a very, very low heat iron. If you have a regular iron and you want to use this, I would suggest putting a piece of parchment paper so that you don't burn your project. Because I'm using this very low heat little mini iron from HTV Ront, I decided to just go ahead and use it directly on the paper. Now, I had salvaged this clock mechanism, and that is what I'm going to use. It's absolutely perfect. I really can't tell if it's working or not because it doesn't have a second hand. So I do notice that the hands move, but I don't know if it's on time. I don't know. I'd have to find out. Anyway, I use those pieces of wood back to serve as a support for the clock
mechanism simply because that way I could come in and change the battery when necessary. And here I'm just adding the clock hands. Clock hands, right? Yes, clock hands. I'm just adding them, and look at how beautiful. I even love the design of the clock hands themselves. I think it's very elegant and very shabby chic. So there you go. There is the basic process of putting together a clock. Now you can buy the mechanism for a clock at Hobby Lobby and Michael's. Just follow the instructions and make sure you use every single piece that comes with your kit. So now I'm going to place that in the box, and what I'm going to do is actually support it in the back so that I don't have to glue it in the box. So if I have to change the battery, it's very easy to access it. And all I did was nail 2 small nails on either side just to hold up that clock piece. If you can notice also in the box, I had decoupaged some decorative paper to serve as a backdrop, as we're going to add some silk flowers to really bring this little clock to life. And I'm telling you, I love, love, love this. Again, another piece that I could add to my shabby chic bedroom. And as you can imagine, there's a lot of shabby chic going on in my bedroom, and it's mostly shabby. I hate to say it. Are you like me? Do you leave a lot of your nice dried clothes in their baskets until you need it or until the weekend comes? I love to do laundry while I'm home at night, but I hate to fold it and put it away. So I save it all for just one day and knock it all out in an hour. But enough about me droning on and on and on. Here, what I'm doing is using these beautiful, beautiful Temu florals. And as you can see, they match perfectly with the design. So this is what I am doing. I don't know if you ever thought of doing this, of putting a clock with flowers in it. I think it's beautiful. What do you think? Next, I have these beautiful metal sconces that I got at a garage sale. I think I bought them both 2 for $5, and they were basically clean. I'm just like cleaning it up. I always like to clean up any kind of products that I am going to put into my house because I don't know where they've been, if they've been sitting in a garage or what have you. So here I'm going to use this beautiful decoupage paper from Tim Holtz, and I'm going to use these beautiful floral designs. I think this is absolutely perfect. I could have left them plain, but they look too plain, and I thought, I was thinking of, should I use a mold and put that in there? I really was getting lost as to what to do. But then I saw these flowers. I remembered I had these decoupage floral patterns and this decoupage paper, which is absolutely perfect for decoupaging, and I thought this would make a beautiful addition to these scones. It actually makes them look as though they are hand painted because I'm putting the gloss over the tissue itself, and of course it makes it look like it's painted, and I just think it's absolutely lovely. It's kind of sad that they might be covered by a candle. Once I put a candle there, I'll put one of those battery powered candles that have a remote, so it's easy to control the candle. I would never use any kind of like real candle on a sconce because I just don't know what's gonna happen. Now I think I called them a scone before, and I apologize. I think they're sconces. That's their proper name, but let me know if these have another name. Again, all I'm doing here is trimming it up, and we are pretty much ready to go. I really enjoyed making all of these thrift flips today and really enjoying the shabby chic look of it all. And I hope you like it too. Well, I have my own little Cheshire cat right here as Kudo is helping me to oversee this first project. These beautiful chalkboards I found at Hobby Lobby on clearance for 75% off. I was able to find 2 in very good condition, and this is going to be the base of my first project. Of course, it's chalkboard, but it's not Alice in Wonderland unless you add a Harlequin base decor. So here I have this wonderful Harlequin
stencil, and I believe I have this from Amazon, and I will create the link below so you can find it for yourself. And again, I apologize for some glitches that might appear in my video. Apparently my camera was knocked over and it has some damage. So until I get a new camera, there'll just be a few little glitches here and there. All I'm doing here is using this wonderful white paint. Now I was indecisive whether I was going to use white or if I was going to use cream, and I just decided to go on with the white. And if I want to make it cream, I can age it later with a little bit of antiquing wax. But for now, I think it looks really great with the white paint. I feel like the white against the black is just such a stark difference. So there you see the reveal of that first stenciling, and then I'm just going to continue stenciling this wonderful chalkboard. Since this will be in the Queen's garden room, I thought it was appropriate that they have some rabbit heads. These rabbit heads I actually found at Hobby Lobby on clearance for 90% off. They didn't have too many of them at that point that were unbroken, but I was lucky enough to find a pair. One with glasses and one without glasses. The glasses had fallen off, but it works perfect for my vision for this craft. Because it was all white, because again this was used originally for Easter, I decided to paint the inside of the ears gold, taking some inspiration from none other than Mackenzie Childs. And there you can see the pair together. And I thought it would be funny because you know how the Red Queen loves to say chop off their heads, off with their heads. Well, these are two rabbits that turned up late for tea, and that's why she has their heads mounted on her mantle. I thought it was perfect. Again, taking inspiration from Mackenzie Childs, I'm adding some gold dots in between the Harlequin diamonds. I think it's just perfect and adds that little touch of whimsy. Again, this is all whimsical, wonderful wonderland. And there's a little kudu tail sitting right there. I am using, believe it or not, E6000 to mount my rabbit. It is made of resin, but it's hollow resin, so it's not very, very heavy. So I'm using first some E6000, and then I'm going to bolster it with some hot glue just to keep it in place while the glue dries. But mainly I've used a lot of E6000 to make sure that the bond is permanent on this design piece. I am so, look at this rabbit. This is so cute. So again, if you love Mackenzie Childs and you love Alice in Wonderland, when Easter comes around, remember, pick up some extra rabbits because it is just perfect for a whimsical Wonderland decor. Of course, after I turned off the cameras, I decided to add a little more embellishments. So beneath the rabbit heads, you'll see later in the final picture, I have added some red roses because I think it was just so appropriate that there would be a pop of red in this beautiful decor. So check out at the end, the final reveal. If you're enjoying this so far, please remember to like, share, and subscribe and help me to grow my channel. It's been a while since I've created what I like to call my enchanted books. I first saw this with DIY with Karem, K-A-R-E-M, and it's always inspired me to create new ones for different themes. For this Alice in Wonderland theme, it only made sense to bring Lewis Carroll's beautiful story to life within this book. So I'm just using a book I got from the Dollar Tree. I'm using the glass from a small frame, again from the Dollar Tree. It's a 4x6 frame, and that is going to help me figure out where to cut out not only the cover but the pages of this book to make it really come to life. Now this is a difficult, tedious process. I've tried different ways of making this easier for me. I even had a laser cutter. Oh, hello Luna, thank you for stopping by. And the laser cutter, yeah, laser puts puts paper on fire, and you know me, and fire is not a good thing all the time. So yeah, I don't like using that method. So I just rather cut it out. Now Luna was driving me nuts here because I was so scared of cutting with her sitting right there. Hi Luna, she's here visiting me now as I'm recording this. I love it when my kitty cats keep me company while I'm doing something tedious. I did watch a really nice movie. I think I watched Pride and Prejudice again. Yes, again. But, you know, it's nice to watch something literary while you're cutting up a book. Now, let's go back and let's discuss this. I am a great fan of books.
And usually I wouldn't be a proponent of this, but to be very honest, this is at the book, at the Dollar Tree. Eventually this will end up in the trash. So it's better to make art than trash. Here I am taking my little sanding block and I am sanding down the edges of the pages just so that they're not too raggedy, or the edges aren't too raggedy. Now there you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm flooding each edge, each side with hot glue, and I'm going to be patting it down just to hold the pages together. I'd rather do the pages being held together in the center, and on the outside, a lot of people glue out the outside with, Mod Podge, and then the outside, it appears as though it's still a book that you can go through the pages, but in reality you can't, and it's because the pages are glued on the inside. And Luna's there once again. Let me adjust for Luna and have a little Luna moment. Luna's on top of the stuff that I need, so it's best to just to like cuddle her, and eventually she'll get annoyed and just get off of my crafting space. Yeah, annoy the cats. So when they annoy you, just cuddle them and they'll be like, okay, enough, human. So there is my beautiful design. Again, these designs are mainly free because the book is over 50 years old, so it's what is it called? Public domain. So these are original artworks from the original Alice in Wonderland book, and there you have it. But wait, there's more. I'm going to make this 3D by layering the same image, and what I'm doing is cutting out Alice so that she seems more real life, so it looks like she's almost coming off of the page. Now I didn't make it very high off of the original, just a little bit, just to make it a bit of a shadow, I guess like a shadow box kind of design. And I'm just using these wooden coffee stirrers as my lifts. I couldn't find anything small enough, and I just thought this would be best. I was thinking of using clay. I've seen some people use clay, but I like just using these wooden stirrers. It's the easiest way to go, and it keeps it nice and stiff, so it works really, really well. And I have to apologize. I just realized I did not paint my nails. I usually paint my nails for you guys, but there you can see those are my natural nails, if anybody wondered. Yes, those are my natural nails. I don't, do acrylics. No, nothing wrong with that. Sometimes I wonder if I should, because that way my nails will actually last longer and be more durable. But yeah, your girl's cheap. So hats off to you that invest in your beauty, because I think they always look so pretty when I see nicely done acrylic nails. Now, enough about that. Let's go back to Alice. There's Alice. I'm just gluing her in, and look at how cool that looks. Look at that. You see, it didn't have to be too high off of the page. And again, I'm using that Mod Podge dry technique where I put the Mod Podge on the book, let it sit for a little bit, just for a minute or two, and then using the iron over it. And I think it just gives it such a better look. There's no wrinkling. And especially with something like this, like a book like this, it's going to be decorating. It's actually going to be decorating our design, the designer group's meeting room, I suppose, to serve as inspiration. So the head designer, Alfredo Brito, who's the artist in residence, he has like a residence. It's a little office room, and it's so beautifully decorated. I have to take pictures of it. But he had some Alice in Wonderland things, and I brought this just to give us all some inspiration, and everybody loved it. And he gave me a great idea to try to replicate this in a larger scale. So keep your eyes open for that. I still don't know how I'm going to do that. I'm trying to think of, at larger scale, I mean something that's like 3 foot tall, making the same book, but maybe like 2 foot or 3 foot tall. So I'm going to see how I can do that. And if I do, I will share the process with all of you. Now I'm adding some stickers. Oh, I love this. Wait, look at this. Look at this. They had these tiny miniature cards and Temu, and I think it was like 98 cents or something. So I bought a set. I didn't know exactly how I was going to use it. When I saw this picture and I saw the cards in this picture, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so perfect. So I'm also doing the 3D effect with these little bitty playing cards. Oh my gosh. I mean, you can make jewelry out of these playing cards. They're so small and so tiny, but they're also perfect for this. So if you want to recreate this, remember, you can find this. You can also find these at Hobby Lobby. I think I've seen them there as well. I think Tim Holtz also sells miniature playing cards, but these were on Temu, and again, it was really super cheap. So I took advantage of it, and I was just having such a ball. But wait, there's even more. Look how cute. Oh my gosh. Are we loving this? I'm loving this. Are you loving this? We need to share this love. Okay. So then I had the bright idea of bringing the cards outward as though they were flying out of the book itself, out of the frame. And I love this technique. And again, I want to recreate this in a larger scale. So now I'm just gluing down the frame with the glass so we can see Alice through the looking glass. It's not a mirror, but we're looking through the glass to see Alice. And as you can see, I also added a little mushroom that I had in my stash. And I'm so happy with this. I hope you're happy too.
Coming at the end of this month, I have a Cleanapalooza collaboration with many other crafters and YouTubers that are getting ready to start the new year just right. So join us. I want to thank you all for stopping by and for all your kindness and well wishes this full year of 2023. And I'm starting 2024 strongly, and I'm so excited and pumped to see what I can come up with for your inspiration this year. If you're new here, this is just a taste of what I create throughout the year. As I always say, stay safe, be kind, God bless each and every one of you, and remember to live the adventure.